Hey, everybody, welcome back to my messy desk. JRB here. This was supposed to be a live stream. I'm so sorry that didn't work out. Thank you for those of you who tried to jump on, but I'm recording this and I'll post it right after. But today is still an exciting day. It is the day that Estranging Novem, Strange and Glorious Happenings has released. It released this morning, July 6th, 2024. And it's so exciting. This is the story of how God radically rescued me 7 years ago out of bondage in so many ways. Okay. Uh, Ultimately, from the bondage of my sin, uh, killing me, bringing me to life in Him. And I truly feel I've only been living for 7 years. But not only that, at the same time, He lifted bulimia that I had been struggling with severely for 20 years, and also obsessive compulsive disorder that I did not know that was what was causing my extreme anxiety that had honestly stopped life for me when I was 34, because the physical symptoms had gotten so terrible. Anyway, I go all into what happened, everything that led up to that, and everything after that. So if you deal with severe anxiety, depression, mental illness, especially bulimia, as far as eating disorders go, if you struggle with failure, if you are a failure, okay, you're going to want to read this book. Okay. I posted this. It said, I failed pretty much everything once in my life, but I failed the driver's learner's license test twice. I failed it twice. So, and that is until 7 years ago. Okay. And even after, but there were no accomplishments before then. I dropped out of school, moved out of my house when I was 17. The bulimia was just off the charts. Okay. And I talk about that when the book was being formatted. Rachel Bostwick, who does all of my covers and book formatting, she's incredible. If you need somebody, Rachel Bostwick. Okay. I'll have her information for anybody that needs it. Anyway, she was formatting the book and she was like, I have never thought about bulimia that much. And I think it's because it's so shameful. Okay. I know it's not true that some addictions are more shameful than others, but man, bulimia feels shameful because it's so gross, for one thing. And then two, it you cannot get away from. It's so difficult to get away from it. One, because people don't look at it as an addiction. Two, because you have to eat to live. Okay, so where a drug addict or an alcoholic can stop drinking, once they, uh, detox and do all the things, they can just not go, not just, but they cannot go to bars or they cannot go to certain places where the drugs were. But you have to eat to live. So it's so difficult to break free from it. And it becomes um, so, uh, so it becomes such a strange addiction. Okay. And it's this cycle of um you know planning, getting, doing the thing, and then cleaning up, this cycle that becomes this weird ritual. Anyway, it's so shameful. No one wants to talk about it. I looked up, other books that talk about bulimia, and there's honestly not a lot of them. And I think that is probably why. One, it's so shameful. Two, it's so difficult to get away from because I know before before it was just lifted off of me, which I want to give you hope for anyone watching this. You know, 2017, God rescued me in so many ways. Um, and it was so miraculous. Okay. Um, he did save me from my sin. That happened. Okay. So it was a Christian conversion experience. And then afterward, he did lift the bulimia and the OCD, but that was through therapy and medication. Okay. So, for those of you who are thinking like, there's no hope for me, I'm not, um, a Christian, there is hope. And I'm hoping that, me talking about the symptoms and talking about everything that happened and how I got help, will help you. Okay. But for those of you that are Christians, man, you are going to find this so encouraging and inspiring. And it's just a testament to what God does. And there's new life in Christ. There is new life in Christ. The cover, has, it's so brilliant. I couldn't have asked for a better cover. Again, Rachel Bostwick. But here, it's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me standing on the vine, and that comes from what has become, if I had a life verse, my life verse would be the whole chapter of John 15, all about Jesus being our vine and we're the branches, and how apart from him we can do nothing. But clinging to the vine, we will bear much fruit. And so this is the golden fruit that Jesus bears through his people. And I honestly, for Christians, clinging to the vine is the joy of life. Jesus as your vine and you as the branch, that is the joy in life, because no matter what happens, you're clinging. And so even in turmoil, he is bearing fruit in you and through you. Okay. So that is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. And those are good things, even in this awful world. So I'm just, I'm so excited for you to read this story. It's so weird. Okay. For those of you who, for anybody that reads it, it is a weird story. Okay. I talk about the bulimia. Um, you know, I talk about The Omen scaring me to death, and I was afraid of, like, obsessed with the apocalypse for decades into adult years. Okay. I talk about that, and just all of these crazy things. I kind of put some funny stories in there, just to kind of break up the tension. But some of the stuff is really shocking, and I've never talked about it anywhere. And so I'm not going to talk about it here either, because if you don't read the book, I don't ever have to talk about it. So there you go. But anyway, no matter what, whether you're a Christian or not, it's going to be an interesting book, just because it's so weird. All of the things that, all of my choices in life, honestly, and just the things that have happened. So I hope you enjoy that. I hope you're so inspired by this book, because honestly, before 7 years ago, the way I put it is that God broke into my life with the real deal. Okay. I had been calling myself a Christian for decades. But I was never a Christian. You can be a follower of Jesus and not saved. Okay. And that is what I was for decades. Except for the one small time when I threw it all out the window and called myself an atheist. But for decades, I lived as a horrible sinner, and I was not a new creation in Christ, but I was telling people that I was a Christian because I did believe that Jesus was a real person, and that he did die on a cross for everyone's sins. Okay. But the depth of that, what that meant, and that he was dying for he was literally taking the punishment that I deserve. That truth had not been paid attention to by me. It was not planted in good soil in my heart. I was not a new creation. And I heard this quote. It was, faith alone saves, but faith that saves is never alone. Okay. And that is uh, true, because faith in Jesus saves. Faith alone in Jesus saves you. Okay. But true faith in Jesus that saves you is never alone. Okay. So everyone that looks at all the Christians and says they're hypocrites, number one, um, you don't know where they're at in their journey. Maybe they were just saved, but I would say the majority, of people, of all the people in the world, of all the people in the United States, okay, who say they're a Christian, I'm I'm willing to bet that they have um they have a belief, like they have a belief, like they believe somebody when they say they went to work that day, but they don't understand the depth of what it all is. And that is miraculous. Okay. When that truth that we are sinners in, in that we deserve to be punished because of how we are, when that truth is realized, and you realize that Jesus is the one that took that punishment, that he was punished instead of us. When that is planted in good soil in our hearts, it miraculously changes you. Okay. And even if no one else sees it, you're not feeling and thinking the way that you used to. Okay. And that is one thing that I talk about in the book, was me hating other people's success. Okay. I hated when other people were doing better than me. Okay. Which was pretty much everybody because I was such a failure in life. And so, when something good with people would, you know, especially if somebody was a failure like me and then suddenly they're doing better in life, I would like seethe inside, and that was so disgusting. But it was just a natural feeling that was part of me, that is different now. I don't feel that way, even if I am like, man, I wish that was me. I'm not hating people and not giving them tips to succeed, because I don't want to help them succeed. That was me before. Okay. And I am not like that now. And I did not do that to myself. I did not change that about myself. That was something that is part of this new creation in Christ. Okay. You cannot see that. You cannot see that, because if anybody is not a Christian and they're looking at Christians as hypocrites, a lot of times they are, okay? But a lot of times you don't know how they were feeling before. You don't know what they were thinking before, or anything, and how that is different now. You can see it in yourself, so the thing to do is to call out and become that new creation yourself, which you are not doing. It is Christ doing it, to you and in you, making you a new creation in Christ. And it is no longer you who live, but Christ in you, and that is the light of the world. Anyway, so switching gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about something fun, and this is the release dates of my books. Okay. So I talk about OCD and, how we assign meaning to things. And, I do this still, but the difference is that there is no fear behind it or rituals or anything like that. Okay. And in the book, I talk about the nature of OCD, what it is, and what makes it OCD. But it's very prevalent in creatives, and I do have quirks left over. Okay, and one of them is the release date of my books. I always want them to be on an important date. Okay, but then sometimes it works out that I actually publish it on that important date, or I just get impatient that I want it to release, and so it just ends up being whatever day it releases on. Anyway, so like the first book, Brumbletide and the Daughter of Eve, it was publishing November. It was publishing in November, and so I set the date as November 10th because I wanted it to be Martin Luther's birthday. And so I think what I had planned, I think I had originally planned. Oh, that's right. Okay, I wanted it to be on C.S. Lewis's birthday, but then I was impatient for the book to come out. I didn't want to wait till November 29th, and so I just, backed it up a bit. And I also admire Martin Luther, and so I had it released on Martin Luther's birthday. So, book 2 turned out to be a important date, but not by anything I planned. This was so weird. So it was probably the same thing. I probably picked a day that was significant in my mind. And then again, it was ready early. And so I published it on that day, September 8th. Okay. Which is not significant in any way. But then it was significant when the next year, Queen Elizabeth II died on September 8th. And the book is called Brumbletide and the Changing of the Crowns. And exactly 1 year after it was published, there actually was a changing of the crowns. And it was the weirdest thing ever. Book 3, there was no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a date. And then book 4, same thing. Today there was no, I had the book. I was going to release it on July 21st, which there's a dream I talk about in the book. And at the end, I don't even think I put this in the book. Okay. But at the end of that dream, there was an alarm clock and it had 7:21 on it. Okay. So when I knew the book was coming out in July, I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release it on 7:21. But it was ready early. And so, when you publish, you hit publish, but then it takes a while to get ready and you don't know when it's actually you don't know the actual date. It's going to be somewhere around then. Anyway, the date ended up being July 5th. But none of us knew about it until July 6th. And so that's the date. It's not the 21st. But I wanted to look up all of these significant things about July 6th. So it is George W. Bush's birthday. It is Nancy Reagan's birthday, the Dalai Lama's birthday, the president of Kazakhstan in 1940, which I cannot say. But it's also Sylvester Stallone's birthday, which I did not know. But this is so awesome because if you follow my social media, you know that I just met Sylvester Stallone. And it was both the worst and the best. Okay. So this is going to be those stories that I posted on my social media for anybody that sat through those. But I know that on Facebook, I forgot to put this one video because I upload the videos into my Instagram, my Insta stories, and then they don't go to my personal Facebook. So I kind of posted them again and I left this one out, one of them. So there's going to be one part of the story you haven't heard. Anyway, so this is known back last Thanksgiving. Okay. I fell in love with the Rocky movies. I saw Rocky 1 a few days before Thanksgiving, and I had never seen them before. I know, but I watched it and it was like the voice of God was speaking to me. Okay. And I did a video on here that you can watch about Rocky and Gideon. Okay. Well, anyway, I loved it so much. I watched all of the Rockies. I've watched one probably 25 times now. Um, Super fan of Sylvester Stallone. I love an underdog story. Okay. And I just loved it. I watched Sly, um, his documentary. Anyway, that all happened last November. Okay. And I watched all the movies with my son Ryan, who is 11, and he became a fan. What are the odds that a couple weeks ago, he was filming Tulsa King just like 5 minutes down the street from my house? Okay. And I never go to meet the famous people because I make such a fool out of myself. I stumble over my words. I don't have, it's just a mess. Okay. And so I knew it was going to make terrible memories, and I don't go. But this was Sylvester Stallone. Okay. And I was like, what are the odds? What are the odds of, first of all, I had just watched it that Thanksgiving. It's a Thanksgiving movie, if you will, okay, because it starts at Thanksgiving. And then what are the odds that of all of the places in the world that he would be here in this small town of nowhere filming Tulsa King? So it was Monday, and I was shocked, but then I saw my friend post her kids meeting him, a video of her kids meeting him, and I was like, what is happening? What is happening? And so I asked her, how did she do that? And she said, basically, you just have to go down there and hope you meet him, because he's very protected. And I don't want to be annoying, because I am annoying. I'm so annoying. Anyway, I get Ryan. I drag him down there. Okay. He's a fan, but like, it's hot outside. I hate to be outside. He doesn't think we're really going to meet him. And so we go. I don't like to be in trouble. Okay. I don't like to be talked to and told that I need to leave. So I was nervous that they were going to tell us to leave, and it's the worst. Anyway, so I park and I kind of just walk around everything. We see what I think is his trailer, and the film crew, all of that's going on. And I see kind of a crowd of people. Anyway, I walk around the other way, and there's a small alley in downtown Winder. And so I stand with Ryan in that little alley, okay, watching his trailer. It's so ridiculous. And I'm just standing there, and we're kind of like just looming in the shadows. And the film crew is walking by, and I'm sure they're going to tell us to move. They do not tell us to move. It's like 20 minutes, but seems like forever. And so Ryan is like, let's go. This is ridiculous. He's not coming out. It's so hot out here. And I was like, okay, if he doesn't come out in a few minutes, we'll go. And so we're standing there, and people are kind of like starting to congregate at the other end of the parking lot, of the end of the alley where we were standing. Okay. And so I'm like, okay, Ryan, let's just go stand with those people. And if he doesn't come out, we'll go. Okay. So we walk across the parking lot, and the minute I go and stand in front of that crowd, okay, he comes out of his trailer, like right in front of us. And it was the most surreal moment ever. I could not believe it was happening. Anyway, everybody just like glues themselves to him, and he now has a crowd. Me and Ryan are standing back, because I'm like, okay, you know what? We're just going to stand here and watch him sign autographs, because I don't want to make him mad. Okay. Because I can tell he's going to get mad. And so anyway, I'm watching, we're going to stand there and just watch. And then there kind of just opens up a little place in the crowd that I see that we can, get close, but not close. And so I will never forgive myself for leaving my phone in the car. Okay. I left my phone in the car. I just knew the second that I went back to get it was going to be the time that he came out. And so I have nothing. Okay. But I have, from Christmas, there was a Christmas event that I put on at the church, okay, where I wrote a letter to everyone talking about the meaning of their name. And anyone who didn't come, I still was just walking around with their letters in my bag. And it was June. Okay. And that was Christmas. Anyway, I took one of the letters. It happened to be my mom's because she had COVID during the thing. Anyway, he signed my mom's letter. I got his autograph on my mom's letter, and this is what happened. So we went up. I get my letter out, and me and Ryan are just standing there quietly. And the door to his Escalade, I think it was the Escalade, was open, and he was like gonna get in, but he's signing autographs for this crowd. Okay. And so we were on the other side of the door. And so the door's open. His bodyguard is right here and can see me and Ryan through the window. Okay. And there was some teenage boys, and they were saying something to him that I didn't hear. Ryan later told me that they asked him to say something, and he told them that they were pushing it. So I heard him say that, or I heard him say, "Now you're pushing it." So I did not want to be pushing it. So we just hung back, and the bodyguard sees Ryan through the window, and I hear him whisper to Sylvester Stallone, "There's a kid behind everybody." And so he waited for us. He waited for us and waited, to get to us, and he signed our autograph and waved to Ryan. But there was a horrible moment, and that was when again, I don't meet famous people because I'm going to ruin it. And I had a Sharpie and the letter, and I handed it to him. And when I handed him the Sharpie, he said, "Remove the lid," like that. He said it like that with no smile on his face. And I was going to die. It was the worst. And so I removed the lid, and he signed the paper. I have it in here. Hold on. I'll show you. 1 second. You would never know. You would never know it's Sylvester Stallone. Only I know. But yeah, this was the letter to my mom that she will never receive. Anyway, so after that, he was signing, and he said, "Hey" to Ryan. And then I wanted to say something. And so I said, "I love everything you've ever done." And that was it. And he said, "Oh yeah?" And that was my meeting Sylvester Stallone. So they say don't meet your heroes because it's not good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't the best. Okay. I didn't take the lid off, and it was anyway, but it was fine. I'm sure it's awful being Sylvester Stallone in public because like he got out of the trailer and people just like suctioned, and I'm sure it's like that all the time. So anyway, I was so excited. And so I did not do this on purpose, and I didn't even know. And I did actually know subconsciously that it was his birthday today, but I did not realize that the book was going to be published today, first of all. And anyway, the book that is Estranging Novem's special thing. It's published on Stallone's birthday. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it. I am going to post the link in the description, and the paperback is out right now. If you are a Kindle reader, it's only $2.99 on Kindle, and it's only $9.99 as a paperback. And so I am going to post the description in the description. I cannot speak. Unbelievable. This is why I don't do this. I'm going to post the link in the description, and I just hope that you are blessed by this book. Okay. Because whether you are a Christian or not, if you're a Christian, it's going to be so encouraging and inspiring. If you are not a Christian, it is just going to be flat out weird. Okay. and you're going to be like, you know what? That's a crazy story. So, anyway, I hope you guys are all well. If you are not well, I hope that you read this book, okay? Because there is help to be had. But so many blessings to you guys. Happy 4th of July weekend. Ah, no. Okay, so actually, no. July 6th. Okay, so the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th. The world knew about it on July 6th, okay, because it was published for the world, okay? So that is it. That's the significant one for Estranging Novem. This is the story of how God gave me freedom, okay? And yeah, it was on the day that that the world uh, was aware that independence had been declared. Okay, and so that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, guys, this was a ramble. Blessings.